The legendary Alfa Romeo logo. Back in 1971, it graced the radiator grille of a front-wheel drive compact for the first time, the Alfasud. The Italian automaker hoped the car would help it attract new customers, and they wanted to stimulate the local economy too, as our classic car expert Christoph Bauer explains. Austrian car designer Rudolf Rüsker was given the mammoth task of creating the car. He'd previously worked under Ferdinand Porsche on the VW Beetle and had helped develop the Giulietta for Alfa Romeo in the early 1950s. Rüsker made plans not only for the car, but also for a new factory in Pomigliano d'Arco near Naples. And he quickly dubbed the car the Alfasud, the Alpha of the South. Rudolf Rüsker was well-connected and assembled a team of former Fiat engineers. Starting from scratch, they designed a compact car that was very progressive for its time. It boasted plenty of space, an aerodynamic shape, and sporty performance. There was just one problem. Rust. Christoph says it quickly ruined the Alfasud's reputation. By the time the first vehicle inspections rolled around, some parts had completely rusted through, and a few Alfasuds were completely unsalvageable after just 4 years. That's because staff at the Alfa plant spent almost as much time on strike as they did working, so body shells sometimes spent weeks sitting around in the salty sea air, and rust set in even before they were painted. The company's quick fix of filling the vehicle's hollow cavities with synthetic foam just made things worse. It soaked up water like a sponge, producing more rust. That was a shame because otherwise the Alfasud is a well-engineered car. Christoph explains that it was the first Alfa Romeo to use front-wheel drive. While safer than traditional rear-wheel drive, it can make for dull driving, but not in the Alfasud. It's fun and great on curves, thanks to Rudolf Rüsker and his great suspension with McPherson struts at the front and a pressed steel rear axle. Unusual for a front-wheel drive model, it tends to oversteer due to the negative camber at the front, normally only seen in race cars. Except for a hatchback, the Alfasud had all the ingredients which would 3 years later make the Volkswagen Golf such a success. Christoph says the Alfasud's design was decades ahead of its time. The short overhangs allow for a long wheelbase, and combined with the steep fastback makes for heaps of room inside. And that was head designer Rudolf Rüsker's intention. He was also 2 meters tall and wanted to build an Italian car that could seat 4 Central Europeans comfortably. The body was styled by none other than Giorgetto Giugiaro, designer of the first VW Golf. The Alfasud shape is very aerodynamic. A compact boxer engine allows for a flat hood and a low center of gravity. The sloping rear also optimizes airflow and improves handling. Inside, the car exudes a sporty kind of purism. Plastic and rubber are used to create a clearly arranged and ergonomic cockpit. The lack of creature comforts allowed Alfa Romeo to sell the car for an unbeatable price, equivalent to around €4,000. Christoph is also impressed by the compact boxer engine with 1.2 or later up to 1.5 liters of cubic capacity. From the start, they left enough room to increase capacity. The first Alfasud from 1971 eked 63 horsepower out of 1.2 liters of cubic capacity. The car Christoph is driving is a 1.3-liter engine with an output of 68 horsepower. He says in 1972, German trade magazine Auto, Motor und Sport praised the car's incredibly quiet engine, which produced little vibration even at high revs. Yet the 1.3-liter boxer engine is very agile, and you can even rev it up to 7,000 RPM for short periods. It's a real Alpha. So the little Alpha was able to live up to the great expectations buyers had of an Alfa Romeo. Soon the car maker expanded the Alfasud range to include the Giardinetta station wagon and the Sprint Sports Coupe. Although over 1 million of these cars were produced, few have survived. Christoph finds it tragic that people today only associate the Alfasud with rust because this car was arguably the most progressive of its time. Created in the 1960s, it was still state-of-the-art in the 90s. Its design anticipated the shapes of many compact sedans built years later. So, rust or not, Christoph says the Alfasud was a stroke of genius and a milestone in automotive history. At the time, competitors accused Alfa Romeo of selling the car at dumping prices. The Alfasud's Spartan interior, coupled with its progressive technology, added up to great driving pleasure at an affordable price.